On this Sunday night, where there's smoke, there's fire. Canada faces its second worst wildfire season on record. The precarious situation in the Atlantic provinces and why some of the help promised to fight the flames is delayed.
We're continuing to monitor options throughout the country where anybody can be of assistance.
Benjamin Netanyahu defends his plan to take over Gaza, how he's lashing out in the face of international condemnation. Plus, an F-35 flyby in BC as Ottawa reviews its decision to purchase the American fighter jets. And pop star and queer icon Chapel Roan, her new song driving a flurry of interest to Saskatchewan.
Global National, reporting tonight, Ann Gaviola.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. We begin once again in Newfoundland, where firefighters are battling dangerous and challenging wildfire conditions. High winds and hot, dry weather are fueling 3 major fires across the island. 2 of them are on the Avalon Peninsula, including the Kingston fire, which has prompted a regional state of emergency and multiple evacuation orders. It has quickly grown to over 5,000 hectares and threatens more communities.
Fire projections show that the growth may reach Ochre Pit Cove this evening. And we do, unfortunately, have confirmed reports as we are doing work out in that area that there has been additional structures impacted yesterday and throughout the day in Adams Cove area, Kingston, and Western Bay, which is, of course, very difficult news to share, especially for the individuals whose homes and structures were impacted.
Unfortunately, I'm one of the people that lost their homes. So, yeah, I'm a little numb, a little shooken up, gobsmacked. Our community is devastated. It's ravished. I've seen pictures. It's heartbreaking.
4 water bombers are working to contain the Kingston fire on its northern perimeter. Ground crews are working at it from the south. 2 water bombers from Quebec have also arrived, but 2 others were canceled because of maintenance issues, and 2 more from Ontario are delayed as that province deals with its own wildfires.
Right now, we need a break in the weather. The weather is the determining factor in this. I mean, the resources that we have here, we can't really ask for much more. I mean, there's lots of resources to actively fight the fire. It's so intense. It's being fanned by the wind. The temperatures are so high. It's the conditions, the worst conditions you can have for forest fire, for wildfire.
The fire danger across much of the country is serious. High temperatures and dry conditions are raising risk levels in parts of every province. The majority of out-of-control wildfires are raging across the northern prairies, but there are intense hotspots on the west coast and across Atlantic Canada. There are now 2 fires burning out of control in New Brunswick. The province has brought in restrictions on access to crown lands and wooded areas. Johnny James looks at the fire situation and gets reaction to the new measures.
In Fredericton, trail access to popular spots like Odell Park and Killarney Lake are closed, while Killarney's beach and others remain unaffected, along with the city's open trails and campgrounds.
Concern, of course, because, the grass is very dry, so in regards to fires, it could spread very, very quickly.
New Brunswick Premier Susan Holt has chosen not to enforce excessive fines like the neighboring Nova Scotia, where its government has implemented a $25,000 punishment for those who break their ban. Holt instead is relying on residents to comply, leaving the current penalty of $172.50 under the Crown Land and Forests Act as is.
We're asking New Brunswickers to join us in that, to join us in protecting the woods and protecting our province.
While McDonald also has confidence New Brunswickers will align in good faith.
I think the public's going to obey them because a lot of people I talked to were scared.
Others disagree.
I don't think that would be enough to prevent people. I think if it's $100, that's pretty minor to some people. If you hike it up to the Nova Scotia standard at $25,000, it's definitely going to deter a lot more people.
On Sunday, a second out-of-control fire emerged in Carleton County. Officials are referring to it as the Slash Fire, which was only 15% contained and around 5 hectares in size as of 10 a.m. Sunday.
The fire is still not contained. The crews are making progress. So just monitoring as we move forward today.
As for the Oldfield Road fire in Miramichi, the department says due to excessive smoke, it is unable to accurately update its current size. Reports of another fire in the Irishtown area near Moncton also surfaced just after 1 p.m. on Sunday. Full details were not available prior to deadline, but residents in the area are on alert for evacuation. Johnny James, Global News, Fredericton.
From Toronto to Halifax, heat warnings are now in effect for most of eastern Canada. With daytime highs up to 35 degrees and humidex values approaching 40, millions of people are being warned to watch for signs of heat exhaustion and dehydration. Cooler weather won't arrive until Tuesday or Wednesday. Now, parts of BC are also under heat alerts, with temperatures hitting 30 degrees in Vancouver and 37 inland.
I've never experienced heat like this.
Parts of southern Europe are also sweltering in a heat wave. It was 39 degrees in Madrid today, with temperatures overnight staying dangerously high at 26 degrees. Similar heat is expected in France and Portugal throughout the coming week. And the heat is also fueling wildfires in several countries, including Italy and Spain. In Gaza today, there are more reports of Palestinians being killed while seeking aid. Witnesses and health officials say at least 31 people died, accusing Israeli forces of firing at crowds trying to reach food distributions or waiting for convoys. Meantime, Israel is not backing down on plans to increase its military offensive in Gaza, despite international condemnation. Global's Candice Cole is following the story.
Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu doubled down on claims that Hamas is responsible for starving Gazans, accusing the international media of taking Hamas at its word. He accused the UN of holding up the flow of aid into Gaza, showing pictures of what he claims to be truckloads of rotting food.
Hamas created this problem, and it was directed against us. Immediately, we have a starvation policy, which is completely false.
As he laid out plans for the next phase of the war, Netanyahu said roughly 75% of Gaza is under Israeli control, and ending the war comes down to 5 principles: disarming Hamas, freeing all hostages, demilitarizing Gaza, Israel overseeing security control, and establishing a non-Israeli peaceful civil administration. But instead of ramping up war efforts, the families of hostages still held by Hamas want the return of their loved ones to be top priority. They're calling on Israeli companies to strike until their release is secured.
My husband and the other hostages are facing extreme danger. The decision to send the army deeper into Gaza is a danger to my husband, Omri.
This as the UN Security Council held an emergency meeting Sunday condemning the Israeli government for an escalation they fear will only exacerbate the horrific conditions in Gaza.
This marks a grave escalation in the conflict that has already inflicted unimaginable suffering. This is no longer a looming hunger crisis. This is starvation, pure and simple.
Palestine's UN ambassador Riyad Mansour blasted Netanyahu's claims of wanting to obliterate Hamas, saying his real goal is to quash a Palestinian state. He expressed appreciation to the council, but now calls for action.
It is not sufficient. You have to act. Otherwise, this analysis and description does not mean anything.
Netanyahu says safe zones will be set up for civilians to leave Gaza City. Steve Witkoff, the U.S.'s special envoy to the Middle East, will meet with the Qatari Prime Minister in Spain later this week to discuss an end to the war in Gaza. Anne?
Candice Cole in Washington, thank you.
I'm Israel, I'm Israel, I'm Israel.
Hundreds of people marched through London today, urging the release of the remaining Israeli hostages still being held by Hamas. Among the protesters were family members of those taken during the October 7th, 2023 attacks. The demonstrations happened just a day after hundreds of people were arrested in a pro-Palestine protest, which was also in London. Europe's soccer governing body, UEFA, is being called out for its online tribute to a former Palestinian national soccer team player. 41-year-old Suleiman Al Obeid was known as the Palestinian Pele, a nod to the Brazilian soccer great. He was killed by Israeli forces while waiting to get humanitarian aid on Wednesday, according to the Palestinian Football Association. UEFA's social media post did not mention Al Obeid's cause of death, and that's led to lots of criticism, including from star Egyptian Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah, who wrote, "Can you tell us how he died, where, and why?" UEFA has not followed up on its initial tribute. There is much anticipation for the meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska this Friday to discuss potential peace in Ukraine. Yet Ukraine's president is still waiting for his own invite to those talks, with the White House only publicly considering it for now. As Vincent McAviney reports, European allies insist that Volodymyr Zelensky must be at the table.
Amid frantic diplomacy and calls between capitals, the war in Ukraine continues. Yesterday, at a hastily arranged meeting hosted by British Foreign Secretary David Lammy, European and Ukrainian security officials appealed to US Vice President J.D. Vance. This morning, he suggested President Zelensky could be at the table, but that talks would be tough.
We're going to try to find some negotiated settlement that the Ukrainians and the Russians can live with, where they can live in relative peace, where the killing stops. It's not going to make anybody super happy.
The continued discussions were welcomed by President Zelensky. Only one actor stands against a ceasefire, Putin. His only card is the ability to kill, and he is trying to sell the cessation of killings at the highest possible price. This morning, a joint statement by the UK, France, Italy, Germany and the EU underlined military and financial support for Ukraine would continue. They praised US diplomatic efforts, despite concerns that in Alaska, talk of territory swaps will really be about Ukrainian concessions.
If Putin is serious, and Putin then has to commit to sit down with Zelensky. He cannot do this through President Trump. In the end, it has to be, as President Trump has stated himself, a three-way conversation at least with the Europeans heavily involved.
Amid talk of ceasefires, the conflict continues. These Ukrainian soldiers on the front lines think this week is only the beginning of long negotiations. We do not want the repetition for another 11 years of war. We want it to be over. Whether we have a chance, there is always a chance, I think. All wars end with talks, but given what is going on now, it is an open question how quick the end will come. The feeling that the war must end, but not in a way that rewards Russia's illegal invasion, is shared across Europe. Too much has been spent and sacrificed for Ukraine's defense. But more importantly, leaders here don't want Putin to think he could get away with another unprovoked invasion elsewhere. Anne?
Vincent McAviney in London, thank you. F-35 jets were front and center at the Abbotsford, BC Air Show. Coming up, the case for Canada to stick with a planned purchase of the fighter jets from the U.S.
I'm moving to Saskatchewan.
Plus, how Chapel Roan's summer anthem sparked a tourism boom in Saskatchewan. It's been well over a decade since Canada announced plans to buy American F-35 fighter jets to modernize this country's Air Force. Yet, even after a multi-billion-dollar deal a few years ago, politics and delays have kept their place in Canada's military up in the air. But the aircraft did make an appearance at a BC air show this weekend for a taste of what they can do. Paul Johnson was there.
Thrilling the crowd with a high-speed pass and that unmistakable crackle of afterburner. This U.S. Air Force F-35 is one of the highlights at this year's Abbotsford Air Show. And acquainting Canadians with the fifth-generation fighter couldn't come at a more appropriate time.
Really, the two characteristics that dominate F-35 are stealth and sensor fusion.
Billy Flynn flew both CF-18 Hornets and the F-35 as a test pilot for Lockheed Martin. No surprise, he thinks it's the right jet for Canada.
Flying around in an F-35 is like playing soccer when your team's invisible and the other team isn't. It's an unfair advantage.
The ability of an F-35 pilot to see their adversary without being seen is what made it the winning candidate to replace the CF-18s, which lack those capabilities.
So here's an interesting sight on the tarmac at Abbotsford, just behind me here. A look at Canada's past and present two CF-18 Hornets. Now take a look just a couple of 100 feet down the tarmac, Canada's future, two F-35 fighters.
But it's still technically Canada's likely future. While Ottawa is already committed to buy the first 16 jets, Trump's belittling of Canada has caused many to question spending tens of billions in the U.S. And in March, Prime Minister Carney ordered a review of the purchase, due to report back in just a couple of weeks.
Politicians get involved in that process when they really don't understand what the military requirement is.
But you don't find many critics of advanced jets at an air show. Upgrading from fighters that Canada's flown since the 70s, many believe is long overdue. Master Sergeant Trey McLaughlin leads the maintenance team on the jets they brought to Abbotsford.
They're going to find an amazing aircraft, right? So this is the most advanced, most technologically advanced fighter aircraft ever built.
But then there was this interesting turn in the story. The F-35 demonstration flight got scrubbed midway through because of a technical problem. The pilot brought it home safely, and they did manage to get it airborne again later in the day. In Abbotsford, Paul Johnson, Global News.
Ahead, thousands attend Montreal's Pride Parade. It has been a tumultuous week of festivities as organizers dealt with numerous controversies. The streets of Montreal were packed for the city's Pride Parade today. Now, there was some controversy leading up to it, but that didn't stop thousands of people from showing up downtown to celebrate and embrace diversity. Elizabeth Zogalis reports.
Thousands of people lined René Lévesque Boulevard in the heart of downtown Montreal, where temperatures were in the high 30s.
It's very important to be here. I started Pride back in Kuujjuaq in a tiny village where it was just trucks, and now I'm here in the big city and I'm really excited.
Fierté Montreal's theme this year was Bloom Here and Bloom Now, a way to claim the right to blossom, shine brightly, and love, according to its website.
We are all a big member of the community. Like, I'm bisexual, they're both gay. We love being here. And it's, again, like she said, it's great to be inclusive, and we love being here with the community.
The parade kicked off at the corner of Metcalfe Street, which is recognized as the former 2S LGBTQIA+ neighborhood, and made its way east, where it ended in the heart of the village.
It's important to celebrate, and we still have a fight for our rights, so we can do both at the same time.
Despite earlier controversy surrounding Fierté Montreal's stance on the war in the Middle East, it didn't stop many community members from walking in the parade, including Mayor Valérie Plante, who noted there is still a lot of work to be done for marginalized communities. Unfortunately, we're seeing around the world rights being reversed, and this is unacceptable, said Plante. Several alternate Pride events took place over the weekend, including Rad Pride on Friday night, where a confrontation between demonstrators and police prompted officers to deploy tear gas, and Wild Pride on Sunday afternoon, a pro-Palestinian group of lesbian and queer organizations that have cut ties with Fierté Montreal amid controversy. Elizabeth Zogalis, Global News, Montreal.
Next, you could call it a celebration. How Gus the tortoise marked his 103rd birthday.
He's walking!
Halifax's most famous reptile is celebrating a milestone today. Gus, the gopher tortoise, is now 103 years old. He celebrated his birthday with fans at his home in the city's Museum of Natural History. Gus is the oldest known living gopher tortoise in the world. The species normally has a lifespan of 50 to 80 years. A prairie province is getting a lot of attention lately thanks to pop star Chappell Roan. The singer, known for her hits Hot to Go and Pink Pony Club, released a new single last week that shouts out Saskatchewan. As Heather Urix-West explains, the people of that province couldn't be more proud.
This city, I'm moving to Saskatchewan. It's just another day.
Chapel Roan's The Subway has quickly become the song of the summer in Saskatoon, even if the only Subway you'll find in that city is the sandwich shop.
Everyone around me can't stop listening to it. It's the only thing playing in any of my friends' cars right now.
When the song came out last week, the pop star's promise to move to Saskatchewan had fans outside of Canada asking, wait, where? Before searching for answers online.
What we're really noticing is a lot of a huge increase in social engagements. I think we're nearing 50,000, likes, shares, comments, any type of social media interaction. Activity on our website is up.
It's why Tourism Regina was quick to capitalize on TikTok. But it's not just a boost for tourism in the province.
Chapel Roan is just a queer icon. And one of the exciting things that we wanted to highlight for Chapel was this rich progressive history that Saskatchewan has always had.
It's why Nathaniel Teed, Saskatchewan's first openly gay MLA, was quick to reach out to the artist's management team in the hopes she'll come to the province soon to play a show. Edmonton would love to have her too. Her song Pink Pony Club was the Oilers' anthem during last year's playoff run. The American superstar quickly becoming a source of Canadian Prairie Pride. Heather Yurix, West Global News, Calgary.
And that is Global National for this Sunday night. I'm Ann Gaviola. Tonight's Your Canada showcases Dawson, Yukon, Parley Beach in Pointe-du-Chêne, New Brunswick, and Drumheller, Alberta. Keep them coming. Send your pictures to Global National at globalnews.ca. Thank you for watching. Donna will be back with you tomorrow. Have a great night.